Hello everybody, I'm Stephen Howson. This is the big Manchester United versus Spurs preview. I am joined by these lads down here below. We have got Barnaby from Spurs on TV. We have got Jamie Jackson from The Guardian, who's over in Paris covering the Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain game. I bet that was a quiet flight out there. And we've got Gaz from FullTimeDEVILS. How are you doing, boys?
Good.
All right.
Awesome. Right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about today then is unrest at the club. Now, there's loads of talk about Jose Mourinho. There's loads of talk about Louis van Gaal going to be potentially staying and not going to be getting replaced in the summer. And there's also talk that Ryan Giggs might be given the opportunity at some stage in the near future as well. Jamie, what's going on? Tell the people.
Well, I think no decision's been made. I don't think it's going to go down very well with United fans, but Van Gaal could still be in place. He's probably got to win the FA Cup or finish top four. The club would obviously prefer top four. He himself says the FA Cup. But neither of those two, can he still cling on? I don't know. I mean, the fact that they haven't gone for Mourinho when they could have done 2 or 3 times already this season suggests, I don't know, they're not overly keen on him. So I really don't think any decision has been made. And, you can sort of understand why now they've got to this point of the season because, United could still win the FA Cup and they could still finish 4th. So let's just wait and see. But personally, I'm surprised they haven't gone for Mourinho. It's just what you need. Maybe we'll get into it more a bit later, but I think it's just what United need, really, at the moment. There's
a lot of chatter around the club that the Mourinho deal has been done for some months, though. Do you think that's not the case, then?
As I understand, it's not correct. And, how can I say this? The information I'm getting is pretty sort of, I would like to think, cast iron. And, some of the stories I've done have then sort of been borne out sort of a few weeks later, so that's kind of show that where I'm getting this stuff from is correct. There's been a lot of, how can I say this? Some media organisations have kind of changed their story on what's happening, and I think the fact that they didn't get him, say, at Christmas when you lost at Stoke away 2-0, you lost at Southampton at home about a month later. I think it was 1-0. Those 2 occasions. Then there's the Midtjylland thing away, which I could sort of understand more he didn't go then because you had a return leg. But I listen. There is definitely, as far as I understand it, nothing concrete, and he's not really he's not even had any kind of if we get rid of Van Gaal, it's going to be you sort of thing. There may have been discussions to sort of sound him out, but anything more than that, it just hasn't happened yet.
Okay, interesting. Barnaby, as an outsider and obviously representative from Spurs on TV, what do you see about the Manchester United situation? Do you think the manager discussion, do you think the manager unrest is causing problems on the pitch for United, or do you think it's irrelevant for us?
I think the manager discussions have been caused by poor performances on the pitch, to be totally honest. And, it's just human nature and the nature of our times that, when you have results like those Jamie just discussed, that the manager's going to come under pressure, especially at a big club like Manchester United, where, frankly, as has been proven after various dynasties down the years, it's very, very difficult to keep hold of a manager and be successful for any period of time after you've had someone there as successful as Alex Ferguson was. So, David Moyes never really had a chance, I don't think, and I don't think Van Gaal really has a chance. For me, and this is as an outside, like I say, so, obviously I don't know as much about the inner workings of United as you, but for me, the worst thing that United could do, and I know this is controversial, would be to put Ryan Giggs in charge. For me, he doesn't strike me as a natural manager. I could be wrong, of course I could, but it strikes me like that wouldn't be the right decision. And when I hear Manchester United fans say, oh, Mourinho would only be there 3 years, or Mourinho wouldn't blood the kids or whatever, Mourinho is a winner. End of story. And if you want to win things again, you need Mourinho, because there aren't any other top-class managers out there anymore who are going to do that for you. Simeone, maybe, but I don't think he will leave Atletico Madrid. So that's how it looks to me anyway.
I agree with you there. I think Ryan Giggs is a massive risk for us. And it's a massive romantic idea that we get Giggs involved, but I don't think it's evidence-based. And I would love the clamour for Giggs to be evidence-based. Gaz, talk to me, what's going on? Do you think any of this manager unrest is affecting the pitch performances, or do you think it's just a consequence of itself?
To be honest, I think it's blatantly down to results and performances. I think that there are certain times with certain teams that you can say they're playing well, but it's just a bit of bad luck. They're not getting the results. But at times this season, the performances have never really been great. And then especially over Christmas, really, you'd say the Norwich game, the Stoke game, that's when it sort of got to the point where the results were far too poor to carry on with this manager for the long term. That's when I thought we should have got rid of him, personally. I thought that was the opportunity there. Then maybe we could bring someone in who could actually affect our season. But turns out I was wrong, and Louis van Gaal's done an actual okay job over the last couple of months, maybe. You know, we're only a point off top 4. I didn't think we'd be anywhere near there. But he can't carry on into next season just because of what we've experienced from this year. Some people might say, you know, we're finishing this season well, so maybe they're finally getting the philosophy and maybe they'll kick on next season. But we finished last season well as well. I mean, the results against Tottenham and City back-to-back. And we played well, really, until we lost against Chelsea, which we didn't deserve to do. And then at the start of this season, we were straight back to rubbish again. So I don't think Louis van Gaal really deserves another year, no matter what. FA Cup, top 4. The expectation was we should be challenging for the title this year with the money spent, with us going out the Champions League early, and with the poor football that we've had to sit through. You'd maybe let that go if we were challenging for the league. But we're not, so a change does need to be made. And I do think, I know that obviously Jamie is so much more in the know than me about this sort of thing, but I do still think that Jose Mourinho is coming. I've been saying for a while that I think that he's probably already agreed to come. But obviously Jamie knows more about that than me. But I do think that either way, he's going to be coming eventually.
You say you want Louis van Gaal gone no matter what, and you also said that you want that you thought that we was poor at the start of the season. I thought we was very good at the start of the season prior to the Luke Shaw injury. Do you not think that Louis van Gaal might stay for the 3rd year? Do you not think there's any possibility that the whole project that he was here to do was a 3-year project? And do you see no benefit in allowing him to complete his 3-year cycle? Because it takes several iterations of transfer windows, and it can take a long time to implement any sort of plan under the sort of pressure that you are at United. Do you see no benefit for keeping him for that final year?
You did. You said then that we were actually quite good at the start of this season, and I can't really see the performances to back that up, but I can see in the table we were towards the top. But United fans at the time, we were all asking ourselves, how the bloody hell have we managed that? Because we were very, very poor in some games and we weren't even getting good results, but somehow we were towards the top, and then obviously it did eventually drift off. To be honest, I think we're taking a massive risk if we put Louis van Gaal in for another year, just because we're already getting reports now that players are fed up. I'm pretty sure that players are fed up with him, the more experienced ones anyway. I'm sure the youngsters love it. But I just think that there's nothing he can do next year, really. I don't think that he can take these young lads that he's brought through, which is excellent. I love the way he's done that. I feel like a lot of the players there, he's not the man to take them to the next level, like Memphis Depay, who we've seen come in and have a pretty average season, really. I think there's a lot of players there that he's not getting their full potential out of. Wayne Rooney being one. I think Wayne Rooney has performed poorly this season, and it's not all down to him, to be honest. I think that we just need a change, mate, and we need a change to just get us back to the top ASAP.
Okay, well, sort of segueing into that, I'm going to go to Barnaby on this one. Now, there's been a hell of a lot of talk about your manager coming to Manchester United. Pochettino done a fantastic job with Southampton. He's done an incredible job with you guys this year. Also, Harry Kane. Out of Harry Kane and Pochettino, do you see either of those coming up to Manchester, or do you think that's just complete paper rubbish?
Well, I think there are two difficulties in those. One is the kind of current financial status of all Premier League clubs, Spurs being one, which is that I don't think anyone really needs to sell when a big offer comes in, like maybe they did 5-6 years ago. I think that's kind of been proven in how the kind of middle teams have improved this season. The second one being Daniel Levy. I think he's been pretty open ever since the Dimitar Berbatov situation with United, that he not only will he not sell to United, but he hasn't sold a big player of ours to an English club since. He turned down £50 million from Chelsea for Luka Modric and then sold him for 30 a year later. In terms of Harry Kane, I'll start with him. The amount of money to me that would have to be put on the table by an English club to persuade Daniel Levy to sell the face of the brand, I think is beyond comprehension. I really do, to the point where I'm not even sure if £100 million was slapped on the table with Daniel Levy that he would say yes, because he knows he is basically setting fire to his club and himself if he countenances that deal. So that to me is very difficult, and that's even if Harry Kane were to do a Bale and a Modric and kick up a stink, and I don't think he's that type of player. I really don't. I don't think he's that kind of man. He's very down to earth. You can read into social media as much as you want, but he seems to just like walk in his dogs and practicing finishing. That seems to be his line. And however, I dare say there were people at Southampton who might have said, I don't see why he would go to Spurs at this point. So, of course, anything is possible, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. I think from everything that I've heard coming out of the club and coming out of him, he wants to build a legacy at Spurs. He knows the new stadium is coming, which will make us, potentially the biggest club in London by size of stadium, but also with the way that he is growing this young, driven, hungry, ambitious team. If we have the cogs in that wheel in place in 3-4 years' time when we move into that stadium, then suddenly with the corporate money that will come in, Spurs could become an actual force. So I think it's unlikely, but with Pochettino, because he's done it before, you could never say never. But it would be a difficult deal, that's for sure.
And I think, like you said, Daniel Levy would absolutely have our pants down. The figures that he's able to pull out in transfers is mind-boggling when you look at what we let some of our players go for instance.
Yeah.
Jamie, have you got anything to add to this? Harry Kane, Pochettino, can you see them coming to Manchester at any stage?
What's really interesting, I'd say, is no one really knows what's going to happen. Not just with this situation, Pochettino and Kane, but just generally Jamie Vardy, Mahrez, to take your pick of those sort of players at so-called not as big clubs because of this money issue. So no one really knows. It's going to be very interesting. I understand why clubs, as just been outlined, may not have the need to sell, but I would still say that Manchester United are by far and away a bigger, more richer club. So I think there's more chance of Pochettino, because if a manager turns around and says, I want to go, then it's kind of different to a player like Harry Kane, who's kind of got this...
You can't bench a manager, can you?
No.
What's that, sorry?
You can't bench a manager.
Well, yeah, and also, Kane has kind of almost sold himself as a Spurs, a Spurs boy, that's his club, etc. So it might be more difficult for him in his own head to do that. But I'm interested to see what happens here, because over the next, I won't just say this summer, but the next couple of summers, as this money thing unfolds, to see kind of how it plays. I think, listen, I'll be honest, Pochettino's South American, he's Argentinian. I think for him, Manchester United, massive club, global, and it was an interesting word used there about force. This is the difference, and United are a force. Spurs could be a force, but at the moment, United are a force. And I just think Pochettino, it would be an attractive move. But then you could then say, why would you want to do it? Because look at all the players Spurs have got, how good they are, the young, all the rest of it. So this is why it's very interesting. I think you obviously saw the Ferguson interview to Sky. I mean, he basically just hung his hat on Pochettino, didn't he? He was sort of saying all the things that Pochettino does. He admires, bring through young players, all the rest of it. It's kind of almost like he was saying it was like a mini Ferguson, if you understand what I'm getting at. So I think that, and I think, as I understand it, he did that interview, Ferguson, for no other reason than he wanted to get a message out. I mean, I know you say that about all interviews, but it wasn't on the back of an appearance or a book launch or anything like that. He just decided to do it. Yeah, which is rare for him unless there's a proper reason, and I think that was the reason. So that might be another thing that's in the equation. Can they get Pochettino out of Spurs? I think that would be... There is a bit of a split, but I think that would kind of be the first choice if Van Gaal goes Pochettino. But will it happen? I'm not so sure. Going back to Harry Kane very quickly, the opening game of the season obviously was Spurs at Manchester United, and I could not believe how good Kane was without scoring. He was the best player on both sides, just creating. I was like, yeah, the guy can play football. He was a level above anything else on the show. And I think the only player, and I'm not saying he is as good as him at the moment, but has the potential who United got, is Martial. So I think Kane is a hell of a player. But yeah, I mean, Daniel Levy, they fell out over Carrick as well, didn't they? I don't know if you remember that. It took a couple of years for that to actually happen. So I hear what's being said. It'd just be very interesting, as I keep on saying, to see how this money thing unfolds. Because you look at a player like Mahrez at Leicester, who for me is, him and Vardy, the kind of X factors. Will they sell if they become champions? Will they just say we'll become champions? We'll not cut our losses, but it might be a one-off. Or do they say no? We can go again, Champions League? It'll be very, very interesting to see what happens.
I agree. I think it's going to be massively interesting. I think one of the reasons why we've had such an interesting season this season is, as we mentioned, the TV revenue has forced teams to reevaluate what they do in terms of selling players. We saw Everton reject a £50 million bid for John Stones from Chelsea, which is a ludicrous bid because I think he's worth maybe not even half that. I know we've got the English factor. I know we always over-evaluate English players, but 50 million for him, I don't see where that valuation comes from. And the fact that Everton was able to resist that shows just how effective and how positive I think for the league the increased TV revenue has been. And I think that's a symptom of why the league has been so difficult for everybody this year, is because players that would normally have drifted up the league from the lower leagues, creating that from the lower teams in the division, creating that separation just hasn't happened. And it's almost like death row at the moment, isn't it? It's just every single team is dangerous that you come up against. And unless you're the likes of Aston Villa, where you've completely fell apart, it's very competitive right the way through the division. We go to you on this final one here now, Gaz. Kane and Pochettino, would you like either of those? Can you see either of those happening?
To be honest, I think it's been only really in the past couple of weeks that I've given serious thought to Pochettino coming United, just because I couldn't see it happening. I don't understand why he'd want to leave Spurs. And in a way, I don't understand why United would go for him. I know that sounds quite ridiculous when you consider this season, but he's not done it for long enough, really, and right at the top of the Premier League in a way. I think that, I know that he's done it in a short period of time, really, but David Moyes did it longer, consistently in the Premier League, and that was a disastrous appointment. I feel like if Pochettino was at Spurs for another couple of years, maybe won a league title or something ridiculous like that, then maybe United would start to look a bit more seriously. But yeah, only really recently I've actually had a look at Pochettino and thought what he'd do to Manchester United. And even that, I think, is a massive risk. I think bringing Pochettino to Manchester United is a massive risk. I think the job still might be a little bit too big for him, to be honest. And as for Harry Kane, yeah, all the reasons that Barnaby said, that I can't see happening. I can't see why he would want to go to Man United when he's a Tottenham lad. When Tottenham will probably give him any money that he wants there to make him stay. Tottenham would demand a ridiculous amount of money. I reckon it would take about 80 mil to get him. And I just can't see us getting that, especially when we could get someone like Romelu Lukaku for a little bit cheaper, who is arguably a better player. Arguably.
I just want to go back to you on Pochettino. You said you think Pochettino's a risk. Where do you stand on the Ryan Giggs then? Because Pochettino's a risk.
Yeah, Ryan Giggs is an even bigger risk, don't get me wrong. And every single managerial appointment we could make would be a risk. But for me, Jose Mourinho is the man who has the least amount of risk there, and that's why we should be going for him. Because we've put too many risks.
Can I just say one thing, just quickly on that subject? Maybe you can put me wrong here, but I don't know many successful managers who haven't got that kind of ability to scare the shit out of you a little bit. And with Pochettino, you can really tell he knows when to put his arm around a player, and he knows when to give them that look that says, don't fuck with me, right? With Ryan Giggs, I don't see that ever. And that's where my worry would be with Giggsy.
I wouldn't be too concerned about that. He's a bit of a killer, Ryan Giggs. So, he's
a lady.
He's a hard nut. So I won't be too concerned about that. But I would be concerned about the inexperience. Just throw in one more thing. City are obviously getting Pep Guardiola. United need to stop messing around, really, and get Jose Mourinho, because the guy's got a better track record than Pep Guardiola. Have a look at it, and they don't like each other. And another season for me of Van Gaal is just drift. It's just drift. He might do okay, he might not. But you don't need that at Manchester United. You need a kind of winner. I think it was mentioned earlier. And so you just take a look at who Manchester City are going to have and see who can match up against him. Yeah, Ryan Giggs be a massive gamble, but he definitely wants it. But I don't know. I think it's far too early for him.
I agree with you there. I think Giggs is a massive risk, and I think it would be crazy for us to try and appoint Ryan Giggs with the evidence that, as we've said previously anyway. So what we'll do now is we'll go into the starting 11s. We'll get Barnaby's 11 for how he wants to see Spurs line up. So Barnaby, chuck us your starting 11.
Not only is this how I want us to line up, but I'm 99% sure this is how we will line up, because we've really got to the bottom of what our best team is at the moment. So it's Hugo Lloris in goal as captain, Kyle Walker right back, Toby Alderweireld, the greatest signing in the history of Tottenham Hotspur, centre back alongside Kevin Wimmer, who I still think gets in ahead of Jan Baton, because Jan is training again but not quite fit yet. Danny Rose at left back, Eric Dyer just in front with Moussa Dembele in the pivot in front of him, Eric Lamela on the right, Dele Alli behind Harry Kane and Christian Eriksen. That's how it'll be, I think.
Okay, it's a strong side. It's great to see such an English spine through it as well. Very positive for the future of English football. Jamie, give us your United 11 going into this.
David De Gea, obviously. I mean, the right back situation for me is not ideal. But Darmian, Smalling, Blind, Rojo, Sneijderland, Carrick. Sneijderland for me always has to play central midfield just because he gives you more legs. It's as simple as that. It doesn't really fancy him, I don't think, Van Gaal, but I think he's about 20% better win rate when he plays. And then across the sort of front or the attacking three, there's a whisper, but I don't think it's going to happen, that Rooney might be fit, but I think he's going to play in that under-21 game on Monday. So anyway, Mata, Lingard, Martial, and then Marcus Rashford. One thing I like that very quickly that Van Gaal's done is this Lingard thing. I'm thinking, is he a good enough footballer? But so far, and it's only been 2 or 3 games, but they have been quite high-profile games, especially the derby. It has worked. So yeah, that'd be my 11.
Okay, interesting. Gaz, give me your starting 11.
Yeah, I'd go for David De Gea in goal, obviously. Darmian at right back, Smalling, Blint, 2 centre halves. Can't separate Smalling and Blint now. As a left back, there's a few injuries. I don't know how Cameron Borthwick-Jackson is. Maybe he's ready to start again because he's been injured for a while.
Played on Monday night. He was sat
in the director's box last game, so I'm not sure how fit he is.
Did you say he played on Monday night as well, House?
He played Monday night. I give him man of the match Monday night as well. He was great.
Right. Okay. I'll put Cameron Borthwick-Jackson in then as the left back. 2 centre midfielders. I want to see Schneidlin and Herrera. We've said Schneidlin doesn't have. Herrera does have, and vice versa. They seem like a perfect centre midfield pairing. So I'd go for them 2 there. And then up top, the 4, if you like, the 4 up top would be the same as the ones who had a brilliant game last time. And that is Lingard, Mata, Martial and Rashford. Every single one of them, I thought, had a really, really, really good game last time out against Everton. So they've got to start.
I agree. It's not broke. Let's not fix it. Barnaby, what have we got to look out for Spurs? Who's the threats and what's going to cause us chaos?
I think Moussa Dembele, who's having his best season in a Spurs shirt by miles and is suddenly becoming, to me, a 30, 35 million pound player, really, really brings it out for the big games. Sometimes in the kind of games we're more expected to win, against the slightly smaller clubs, he tends to go a bit sideways and backwards. But against the big games where it feels like he feels like he's being tested against the best, he drives forward and people just bounce off him. He's an incredibly strong player. And he played brilliantly at Anfield last week. And I think he is, if we're going to win this game, he'll be the driving force. Obviously, apart from that, it's Dele Alli's runs in behind when Toby Alderweireld's got the ball, because Alderweireld is a brilliant cross-field passer and can pick him out from about 45, 50 yards. And then Harry Kane just all round. If you give him a sniff, even if he misses early chances, he'll always get himself in the position again. He's so brave, he's so tenacious, holds the ball up really well. And if you give him too many chances, he will score goals.
All right, Jamie, what do we need to look out for from Spurs? Do you agree with Barnaby on that one?
Yeah, I'm glad that Barnaby mentioned Dembele, because I used to see loads of him when I covered Fulham, when I was based in London. And there was a game, I think he would have been playing for Fulham against United, I think in the Moyes season at Old Trafford, where I think he scored and took United apart. But what I was going to say was it was interesting to see him playing as more of a holding player, because I quite like, if you like, a dynamic, sort of player in that position, rather than a Carrick who sort of, holds the ball but can't get forward. So yeah, I like that. But Harry Kane, I mean, how long have you got about him? He now, for me, is as lethal as sort of Shearer and Van Nistelrooy. That's the kind of class he's in. He's just, or Aguero, maybe slightly more lethal than Aguero, which is saying something. But he's in that class. I mean, the guy, he's just a threat. So I think it's going to be difficult for United, very difficult. It's obviously at White Hart Lane. They do play okay. Well, they say they do anyway against bigger teams. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could make a case for United being taken apart, or because the problem with this Van Gaal side is once they concede, are they really going to score twice? I mean, it happens. Mm-hmm. It's quite rare. So, but I do like the look of that front four as it was described before. It is fast and young and all the rest of it. Interesting one when Rooney comes back. Obviously, he's going to get back in the team. But, it's Van Gaal is pushing him to try and get him back in for this game. I don't think it's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. So Van Gaal obviously still really fancies him. But he just, I don't know. I'm not writing Wayne Rooney off. But, I mean, it's a whole other debate. But he can slow that front four down. So, but if that clicks, maybe they'll get a result. It'll be a hell of a result for United to go there and beat Spurs, but I get the feeling Spurs might win sort of 2-0 or something.
I agree. I actually think that if we get a point from this, that's a bonus. We're going to lose between now and the end of the season. If we can win our home games, I think we'll be in great shape. And I think we're probably going to lose 1, if not 2 of our away games. And I don't think that's disastrous for us. I think we can still sneak in ahead of City, even if we lose 2 of the 3 remaining away games. Gaz, what do we need to look out for? And what's going to make the difference for United?
I think it's like we were saying before. It's those young lads up front. It's whether they turn up, whether they're still as excitable going into this game, or maybe they get caught like a rabbit in the headlights a little bit, and it finally, because we're sort of waiting, aren't we, for a poor performance from all the youngsters, because they're allowed one. Don't get me wrong. They're young lads. They are allowed a poor performance, and it seems like it just isn't coming, is it yet? They just keep performing and keep surprising us. So we're just feeling, I'm just sort of feeling like eventually on a big game, a few of them aren't going to show up because of their age, which is understandable. So we may have to be very sharp defensively in this game. And basically, don't let Harry Kane get the ball. I mean, bloody hell, any little bit of space he gets, he will exploit, whether it's a shot, whether it's a pass, whether it's anything. He will exploit it. Luckily, we've got a man who's very good at reading the game in Daley Blind at the back, coming off one of his best performances in a United shirt against Everton going into this game. It wouldn't surprise me if he was stuck on Harry Kane and he dealt with him really well. Obviously, the aerial threat, you'd want to see Chris Small in there a little bit. But yeah, Harry Kane, what more can you say about him? The man is, like Jamie said before, he's comparable to the likes of Shearer and players like that. He is an absolute machine.
Absolutely clinical. One thing I would say, though, you said that the young lads getting caught in the headlights. Marcus Rashford's best games have been the ones where we've almost been the underdog, haven't they? Or he's been the underdog. The Midtjylland game where he had no notice, the Arsenal game, the derby. Even at weekend he was very good against Everton when we was in a very, very tight game. So maybe he is just a big game player. Maybe that's
when
our
best performances are, though, aren't they? Whenever we come up against a team and we're the underdogs, that's when United play the best. So anything could happen.
Okay, well, we'll go back through everybody and we'll go. Gaz, what's your score going to be for this weekend?
I'll say 1-0 United. I think if we get an early one, we'll shut them out.
Jamie?
Yeah, I have to say 2-0 to Spurs.
Barnaby, what score are you going for?
Okay, so I'm going to go for 1-1, just mainly on the basis that I think if you win your game in hand and beat us, you'd only be 3 points behind us, and that is a fear factor for us. So it could be tight. I think if we score first, maybe we could go on to win it 2-0, 2-1, but I've got a feeling maybe you'll nick one first and it might come a bit of a struggle under the tense White Hart Lane atmosphere of can we really keep this going?
I'm going to agree with you there, Barnaby. I'm going to say 1-1 for United. Not a disaster. I think that's a very well-earned point for us going there. What do you guys reckon? Stick it in the comments below. Let's hear your thoughts on starting 11. Let's hear your thoughts on the score prediction. Let's hear your thoughts on all the topics we've covered, from the manager unrest to Pochettino, Harry Kane, anything United and Tottenham related. Stick it in the comments. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
It's time for another huge full-time Devils debate then, and you wanted us to talk about transfers, so that's what we're going to do. This was requested by Liam Crisp and loads more of you guys in the comment section below.